Good evening and welcome to the FE Bar. I'm your host, Jack George Maynard, and unfortunately my co-host, Jack Pickering, is not well, so stepping in is Carl Holloway from the current lap. Pascal Wehrlein, our new world champion, the second double world champion, but it has its controversies. Did he crash into Dennis on purpose? Did Da Costa go too far? How unlucky was Mitch Evans? We also have to discuss so much tonight because even Barnard, he got his win. But remember, you can have your say by joining the Discord, !Discord, on the only show where Formula E fans can have their say. Mr. Kyle Holloway, thank you so much for stepping in at such late notice. You can talk.
My pleasure. It's exciting to be here. So exciting to be here, actually, because obviously we were at the race. We saw it firsthand. The energy in the venue was crazy for the final time in the XL. But yeah, controversial, very. I think there's a lot of talking points. I mean, even on Saturday with the full course yellow, that to me got us all talking about how this season final was going to be. And from what felt like a little bit of a mediocre first race, that second race was definitely worth every bang for our buck that we paid to get into the venue. So yeah, it's really exciting to be here to hear what the fans actually have to say, because yeah, what a crazy finish to season 12. It's what season 12 needed.
Yeah, it did indeed. Like, I don't know if it needed that crazy ending, but I must admit we've enjoyed the publicity of it, because a lot of people, and unfortunately it has given like a lot of racing drivers. I think I saw Danny Juncadella, Lawrence Van Tor, was like they were more like, ugh, this is why you don't watch Formula E, in a sense. So even though there was a lot of eyes on it, because it is a championship final, like it just, you're gonna watch it, right, because it's the championship finale. So it still got a little bit of bad press here and there, but I think there was also a lot of good press here and there, because it was spellbinding. I think it was that final race. I don't know how else to describe it, because the tactics, the gameplay, the gamesmanship of it all was incredible. Like, in terms of simulation, I always use football, as analysis, where you're trying to get one over. There's a lot of that over Sunday's race, and we're going to dive into that. But the first thing I want to talk about is because Pascal Wehrlein has got a lot of stick for deliberately crashing into Jake Dennis. Do you think that was the case?
It certainly looks like it, doesn't it, from the onboards? Because I think the Ericsson spin, or was it Bohemia? I don't know. Whoever was in the Envision who got spun round, I think he was trying to play into that by going wide, pushed him into the wall. But then Ericsson or the Envision rolled backwards and actually got stuck in front of Pascal, which then made it more entertaining. But obviously it did look like he went sharp. If you watch on the onboard from Pascal, it does look like that door is completely shut, and I think that's what we found a lot in London. I think Tickton had his fair shares of the door being shut and being welcomed to the wall, which I think is just, it's a tight circuit. And I think either you or Pico had a comment about if this was one with grass, it wouldn't be the same, because it's walls, it sort of becomes part of that culture. But from my perspective, yeah, I think Pascal took liberties. I think it was a way of winning the championship. He knew that if he got a 5-second penalty, doesn't mean anything, because he has already got those positions. So yeah, he's going to, I think, next season become a bit of a villain. I don't think Pascal deserves that. I think he's actually a bit of a down-to-earth guy. I think he just got in those games that both Jaguar and Porsche were playing from day dot. So but it won in the championship, and what can you do if you're going to play dirty? And yeah, I guess you put it on the line. So
you could argue Da Costa, because it was me that said that. So this was me going on about. You could argue Da Costa was a little bit dirty, and I think Da Costa, in our interview with him, which you can see on the channel, kind of just admitted that he was playing dirty, because he was like, we saw their games from last week, from Saturday, right? And we weren't going to let you do that again, basically, this time round. So it looks like, they were like, well, you gave it to us. I gave it to you and we did it better than you because it ruffled your feathers, even though it didn't help Mitch Evans win the championship. Unfortunately, Pascal Wehrlein still won it. But I do think Antonio, it was on the line, maybe marginally teetering over, because I think in some instances, if there was a wall, if there was grass, if there was an off track, effectively, at some point you could have argued that he pushed Wehrlein off track. But because Wehrlein had to slow down to not hit the wall, it doesn't look like he's forced him off track, effectively. But if Wehrlein, if Wehrlein could cut across the grass, lose maybe a tiny bit of time, then you could argue he pushed me off track. De Costa gets a penalty. He gets moved out of the way, and for example, you live to fight another day. And maybe we don't get the mess that we saw on Sunday. But I'm in the other camp for Wehrlein. I don't think he did it on purpose. I think tensions were running high, and I generally think it was a mistake. Yeah, full blame. And he got a 5-second penalty, which has been turned into a free place grid penalty for the first race of the Gen 4 season. So he's got a free place grid drop already going into next season. But I don't think he'll worry too much about that. But personally, I don't think he drove into it on purpose. I honestly think, Dennis has gone down the inside. It was a bit of a mess. And he's hung it round the outside of the attack mode corner because he knows he's got the inside. But obviously Joel Eriksson is there as well, and Joel Eriksson is minding his own business at the same time, and I just think he's dived in on the inside trying to maintain, even though he's going to lose it on the next corner to Dennis, because he would have lost it on the next corner to Dennis, but Dennis wasn't really his fight. Dennis being one position in front of him made zero bit of difference to Pascal Wehrlein's title challenge. It made zero bit of difference because both of them were out of points. He just needed to follow him. There was no need to punt him out. But Joel was there, and I'm not blaming Joel in any sense of he might have been going a little bit slower, different energy targets. Them two are racing full thrust effectively because they are racing full thrust for the championship. And I think Joel was just in the wrong place, wrong time. And Wehrlein's misjudged it 100%. Can't complain about that. But to say that he has deliberately crashed into Dennis to win the championship, I don't think it's fair. I don't think that is fair.
It'd be good to see the telemetry, wouldn't it? If we could see the telemetry, you might have a better idea of how
you said you saw the onboard. I haven't actually seen an onboard. I've just seen the offboard shots. And from the offboard shots, I don't think I can sit there and go that he deliberately crashed into.
I think for me, what the difficulty is when you're in the, because I was in the grandstands, the whole race up from when, basically, you remember when the De Costa backed him up and then all the cars went flying through. It was almost like De Costa had turned the heat up on the oven or on the hob, and we just got to this boiling point. There was so much tension inside, and they were showing the fights, and everyone was like, it was like we'd been at a pantomime. It was crazy, the energy in there. So when that happened, it was just like mind blowing, and it did, from being in there with that energy. Honestly, we all thought, well, the majority of us did look like it was that dirty tactic. But yeah, I mean, again, it's sort of need to watch it with a cool mind, I guess.
Yeah,
that's
that's another thing. BDS has said here that he's seen the onboard and he thinks the onboard is something else. So I haven't seen it. I don't know where today has gone, right? I don't know where it's gone, right? I've been up early, been prepping for the show. I've been, obviously, if you've seen, we've put some shorts out. I was doing the shorts. And then all of a sudden, it was 6 o'clock. And I was like, where has the time gone? I need to eat. And get food first and foremost, to make sure everything's ready, and all of a sudden, it's just been a hectic day from start to finish, and it normally is, and I had a whole day today. Normally I'm coming back in from work and doing all this, so I've had a full day, so probably no excuses. But BDS has seen it, and apparently it was on the broadcast, and definitely another reason why I missed it on the broadcast, because I wasn't watching the broadcast come the end of the race in the media centre. But if I see that, maybe I change my tune on whether I feel it was deliberate or not. But I just think from the off-board, it's hard to call it deliberate. But that's what we want, ladies and gentlemen. If you are sitting in that chat right now, and you've got a view. If you think Wehrlein did it deliberately, come and tell me. If you think Wehrlein didn't do it deliberately, come and tell me. If you've got a problem with Antonio Felix da Costa, come and tell me. If you're upset about Mitch Evans, if you're upset about Jake Dennis, this is the time to come on, exclamation mark Discord, and come in, and someone, I hope, can tell me if exclamation mark Discord's working, because I did try to update it, but it's exactly the same link, so I'm hopeful, because I did change it over the weekend for the watch along, so I'm hopeful that same link is still working. But if it's not working, can someone please tell me, and I'll try and ad hoc fix it at some point. So coming up on tonight's show, we will be joined by Tobias Wirtz at 8:30 to go through a little bit more of the situations and incidences that happened from this weekend. So that's coming up. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take one of your calls and hear what you've got to say for the weekend. And we're going to start with Will. He's probably, I don't think Will has ever been first, but hopefully he's like, oh, it's me. And he unmutes his mic. There we go. Will, you're on the FE bar. How are you?
Oh, it's me.
It is you.
I'm alright. How are you?
I'm very good. Pleasure to hear from you. Obviously, I know from the meetup, which was amazing, that you were at the London XL. What did you make of the title fight? What did you make of what happened in Sunday's race?
I mean, if I'm being honest, I really wanted a Dennis double or a Mitch initial championship. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a real shame that it came down seemingly to, what you guys have been talking about, that incident, the collision between Dennis and Wehrlein near the end of the lap, which also collected Ericsson. He was just an innocent party in it. I don't know. I mean, I think I have to vote with Kyle on this one. Okay. I think that if I'm giving it the basis of probabilities, I think it's more probable that Pascal said, there's no way I'm letting this guy by, no matter what. But let's just even put that aside, yeah? Remember that in Tokyo, right, I think there were at least 14 points that Dennis lost. If my maths are correct. Even if you just say the race one, the first race in Tokyo that Ticktum won, if Dennis had just lifted, what did they say, about 20 meters earlier on a previous lap, he probably would have not hit exactly zero energy. So that would have been 7 points, right? Dennis finishing first instead of second. That wins him the championship. The next race, there's a pile up at exactly the worst moment for Dennis's race, where I think his attack mode got wasted. He ended up finishing third instead of second, potentially first.
But you could say there's the whole of the season with all the events, though. You can't nitpick in motorsport. It just doesn't work, because you could say the same for Mitch at the very start of the season if he hadn't crashed at Sao Paulo. I think if we try and analyse the season that way, then you're always going to have a different winner.
Yeah, that's fair. What about Mitch, race one with the full course yellow?
Yeah, this is what I was going to say. I was going to talk, because I know you like your Jags. It was just unfortunate. I don't think, hello cat, personally, I don't think that you can do too much on that. I'm just going to deal with my cat. Kyle, take over.
Yeah, I think I thought originally they tried to fix anything with pit boost, but obviously they hadn't. I'd spoken to Pico. Pico said no when I discussed it with him, because I was like, how? Like, this can't happen. But again, it's very similar to other racing series when a yellow flag comes out. It's just luck of the draw, and it could have been the same way. They were talking about that on commentary, how Pascal, it could have been the same for him. He could have ended up doing a stop just after he come in, and then Mitch had gone past and whatnot. So I just think it was a bit frustrating that sort of knocked Mitch's race out, and it made it impossible for him in that race. And I imagine you feel the same, Will, in that just the look of the full course yellow.
Yeah, it's honestly, I totally accept that there's some luck and that things happen, and that's part of it. For me, a key differentiation between Formula E and other, let's say Formula One or supercars, NASCAR, take your pick, is those races generally are longer. So if something happens, especially in the earlier part of the race, you have quite a bit of time to potentially make it up, to play strategy or see what happens. But in Formula E, for example, if you get um, I don't know, let's say a puncture early in the race, yeah? I mean, you're
Mm.
just it's over. The only possible way you come back at all is a safety car, just by the nature of there not being sufficient time. I think you
Yeah.
there's just like no way for you to come back.
We've talked about this on the show before with time penalties. They make no sense in Formula E because of that exact same reason. And there's no way of re-neutralizing the grid without a safety car. But like, I mean, we're getting better. There seems to be less safety cars, which means the drivers are either getting better quality or the circuits are designed for less chaos because they're tight. But yeah, I think the full course yellow was just a bit frustrating from a championship standpoint because they tried to come into this neutral. And I'm very grateful that Pascal won. He's been really good all season. But there is something inside me that's just gutted for the other two because actually they're the ones I thought, oh, this will be fun. Like Jake Dennis, the story of him starting in Gen 3 and wrapping up Gen 3 would be amazing. Or Mitch Evans, who had a title chance like the last 4 seasons and just never had it. And obviously Pascal, he's been so switched on this season. So whoever was going to win it deserved of the title. But I think because it was so heated, we kind of look at Pascal as a bit of, well, I see him as a bit of a villain, even though he's not. And I think he even said that in Jack's interview, that, or maybe the Formula E interview, where he's like, "Yeah, I know what I did," sort of thing. Like, they played those games, so
Yeah, fair.
yeah,
Do
it's
you,
fun.
do
I
you,
think I
do
hope for
you,
next
go
season
on,
at the
Will?
very least they freeze the attack mode. If there's a full course yellow or safety car, I hope that they freeze the attack mode next season. But yeah, aside from that, I mean, I could understand if they said you can't take pit boost under full course yellow or safety car, or rather you can't maybe enter the
Because
pits to take pit
it
boost or something
killed
like that.
Joel's
But
race in Shanghai, didn't it? With the because he took it under yellow.
yeah, yeah. So I know
Do you think there should be a rule
it's
against
difficult.
that? Because Formula E races are only 45 minutes, right? So, a
Mm.
pit stop, adding a pit stop, and even going into Gen 4, we're probably looking at the same type of race length, unfortunately. Right? We all wanted
Yeah,
it kind of
for
extended,
now.
but it looks like that it's going to be around the same type of race. And we'll see the pit boost, obviously, because we're going to see it. Um, do you think that rule needs to be looked at and addressed? Or do you reckon it's just motorsport, keep it as it is?
Can I jump in here? Because actually, I was thinking about this earlier, and I thought maybe you can't take a pit boost under the full course yellow because the track is neutralised. They're all going the same pace, which means the gaps theoretically would have been the same when it goes green. Then he does his pit boost. He would have come out by Evans, and I was thinking, why is that not a thing? Because it's a cheap stop. It's what happened with the. I mean, it's a red flag with Stoffel Van Dorn, but it gave him like literally 30 seconds in hand, and like that's fun to see Stoffel Van Dorn, who hadn't won a race that season, win a race, but it was just like it's unnatural. It doesn't give you that like fulfilling end, and that's what I found with round 16. It wasn't fulfilled, and it kind of was like Pascal was given the win, so it was kind of like he earned it, but it was kind of like everyone else wasn't there. So
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Here's what I'll say. I'll say two things. First, I think there's no harm in just trying it out for one season, saying this is the new idea that we're going to do for one season. You can't take pit boost under full course yellow. Um, and then the other part of me thinks in Formula One, for example, the pit stops are only the actual time they are stationary in the box is only what 2 to 5 seconds, whereas obviously with pit boost it's 30 seconds plus, and I do think that that's more or less the biggest difference um,
well, that's
in
not even
time. Some
including the
of
pit time, is it? Because it's like it's 20 seconds to go down the pit road plus the 30, so it's almost 50 seconds if you think about it.
exactly because if it was just the time down the pit road, maybe that's something you could come back from in a let's say an hour race, not 45 minutes. But if you include that extra 30 seconds in the box, yeah, I think that that's where it just makes it not not possible. So I would think, especially if the races are going to remain an hour or shorter, yeah, just try it out for a season. Get no pit boost under full course yellow, it's not allowed, and freeze the attack modes under any safety car or full course yellow.
Going back to a point that Jack said about was Pascal, did he do it deliberately, did he not? I remember when Abu Dhabi happened, and there was a rule in the rule book that the FIA said that if there was a deliberate crash between Lewis and Max, that there was going to be consequences. Do we think going forward we're going to see that in FE? Like they're going to say if it's like if you deliberately crash into your championship opponent, that you will be disqualified, I guess.
I would kind of hope that there would be something like that for the just for fairness purposes. I mean, it reminds me of somebody dropped the link in chat. I think it was Villeneuve versus Schumacher or something
Yeah,
like
97.
that. And yeah, and that was essentially, I think, an intentional crash. And
Yep. He was
you know,
known
for
for
the
that, Schumacher.
That's a bit more clear.
yeah, and so I don't know. I would kind of hope that there would be something, but then, yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I'd like to hear what other people have to say on that, as well as on the other stuff. Because
I'm gonna just to wrap it up. I'm going to disagree with both of you, and I'm going to say I don't think we can get rid of full course yellow pit stops, and I'm going to tell you why. Right, motorsport is also about rolling the dice, right? And I'm going to go IndyCar because IndyCar seem to say this a lot, but it's also the same in Formula One. The safety car window, right? And people played their chances of going long or playing for the safety car window. Stoffel Van Dorn played that in Tokyo last year in the Maserati, where he played for the safety car for the early pit boost, for it to work in his favour, and he won the race. Maserati strategically did that to win the race. Yeah, it's unlucky, and yeah, I do agree that the pit stop time is a problem. You're not losing 20 seconds or 25 seconds, you're losing nearly a minute, right? So that is a big issue. So that, I think, is probably a point in favour of your argument of getting rid of it or trying to do something about it to stop it. But I think then by doing that, you take an element of motorsport out of the equation, which I don't think's right.
You're definitely right, Jack, because actually thinking about it, if this wasn't the season finale, we'd be going, whoa, what a call that was. And I think you're actually right, because I think it's only because it was in that season finale weekend where it had consequences. Are we as fans like, no, we're losing our title fight and it's going down? Because we kind of like the fact that there was 9 contenders and race round 16. Obviously, it was always going to go to 4. But I think you're right, Jack. If they take that roll of the dice away, the sport will become boring. So, but this is what I like: the level decisions about what we think as fans. It's an interesting topic, isn't it?
Indeed. Will, been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having me on.
You on.
I want to see what everybody else says about this. Ask everybody. Let's have a little vote.
Right, we'll get on. Right, Pascal versus Da Costa, Evans chat. So if you want to talk Evans chat and all that, get in the waiting room and we will talk to you about that. Will, pleasure. We'll see you later.
Lovely. Thanks for having me on. Cheers.
We're going to get Tobias Wirtz on in 60 seconds, but because we've got 60 seconds, Kyle, I want to make a brief mention. Taylor Barnard.
Yes.
Obviously won, got his maiden victory. Just how impressive was that for you?
Amazing, because we kind of got distracted by the fact that this fight was happening, and then all of a sudden, after that sort of crash, and we'd all realised, it was like, wait a second, Barnard's winning the race, and it was, I think amazing, obviously, because he's a British driver, and it's the last time at the XL. He's the youngest driver. There's so many accolades, and also that was the statistic we were waiting for, where all the teams had been on the podium this season because DS Penske hadn't. Barnard put it on the top step, so it was a wonderful thing, and it's really good just to see, I guess, a driver that's been in the sport 2 years finally get some recognition for the drives he had, especially in that neon McLaren. He was really talented with that package, and I think he was let down this year by the DS Penske.
Yep, so if you want to talk Taylor Barnard, make sure you come on and have your say. But we are now joined by Tobias Wirtz from Formula News. How are you, sir? Have you got back home safe and sound?
Yeah, good evening. I'm good, and travel was good as always, let's say it that way.
Good, at least no problems. Man, what a race. I can't believe it was 24 hours ago I was saying goodbye to you on the media centre, and here we are. But what a race! I know they said chaos, right? And we're going to get straight into it with Pascal Wehrlein and so forth. And I know you were speaking to Florian. I don't know if you managed to finish that conversation, but you know, a lot of people have said that Wehrlein did that on purpose. I don't know what the Germans have been saying in terms of like the German media and the German fans and how they've reacted to all that.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. But there's one thing I want to mention. You should remember Tokyo.
Yep.
There was a situation between Antonio and Pascal.
Yep.
And because of the driving guidelines, Pascal was accused of causing the collision. Obviously, Antonio put him into the wall, but the rules say that Pascal was behind, and then it's Antonio's corner. So Antonio has the right to turn in and doesn't need to leave him space. That's basically what they said in Tokyo.
Yes, you're right.
If you watch the onboard of Pascal, you can see Pascal is on the inside, and he is on the same level as Jake is. So it's Pascal's corner. Unfortunately, Pascal hits Ericsson. This makes it really complicated. That's definitely his fault, and he got a penalty for this. But to be honest, it was Pascal's corner, and if Dennis wants to stay there where he actually was, Pascal doesn't need to leave him space. I know that's not good, I don't like it, but that's the rule. I didn't like the penalty Pascal got in Tokyo for the situation with Antonio. But unfortunately, that's the way the rules are. And I don't like the people who say, in Tokyo it's a rule, but in London it's not. It was a comparable situation from my point of view. The only difference is that in London, Pascal was the driver who had the right for the corner. In Tokyo, it was Antonio who had the right for the corner. So that's difficult from my point of view. If you say he did it on purpose, let me ask you, did Antonio push Pascal into the wall in Tokyo on purpose? Yes or no? I don't hear no.
I was gonna say no, actually, but I think it's harsh. I think it's hard. I don't want to call out drivers and say that they've deliberately done it. I'd rather give them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay. Let's say it that way. He accepted that the other driver could end in the wall. Let's say it that way. But that's what happened in both situations, I think.
I would agree with you. Basically, that's like what Ayrton Senna. Right, I'm gonna go back here and use Senna, because Senna was
my goodness.
Because Senna was the same. It was like, well, I'm gonna go here. It's up to you, mate. You either crash into me or you back off, right? And I think Max Verstappen kind of drives in that kind of philosophy in his mind as well. Like, I'm gonna be here. You make the decision. And I think both of them you're probably right in that sense that. Both of them have gone, well, I'm going to stick my car here, mate, and it's up to you if we crash.
Yeah, something like that. And of course, the London crash looks very different because Ericsson is in the mix. From my point of view,
if you on board about 3 times, and there's so much going on in those 3 seconds of the incident.
But have you seen 5 seconds before when Da Costa hit the back of Dennis?
Yep.
That was the reason why Dennis was going wide in turn 16, and this caused the whole situation. If Da Costa did not hit Dennis in this situation, there would be plenty of space in this situation. This causes the whole chaos, and I think it's difficult to judge. Antonio got a penalty for this collision too. To be honest, I'm not sure if that's the correct way of handling this, neither in Tokyo nor in London.
Yeah.
Yeah. I repeat what all drivers said. It is what it is. These are the rules. The steward have driving guidelines. To look at those situations and give penalties if a driver does not drive correctly regarding to this driving guidelines they have.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it's interesting because even Jake Dennis in our interviews, like, the stewards have just done whatever the stewards want to do. Effectively, it's never been super consistent. But you could just tell in the media pen, right, just how downbeat like Jake was, and it was weird. It was a really weird media pen because even Pascal he's just won a world championship, but he's angry, right? Speaking to Pascal, Mitch Evans isn't happy. No one's happy, right? It's amazing, right? It was just everyone was just apart from Barnard. Barnard was delighted.
Antonio was happy too.
Yeah, Antonio was happy because I think Antonio was happy because for him I feel like he got the moral victory because even though Pascal became the world champion for a second time, I feel like Antonio won the mind games in a sense, and I think Antonio's kind of
what was
happy about that.
Was the race had sort of finished and they were waiting for Pascal to come across the line, and Da Costa and Pascal were basically like stopped because they were rubbing against each other. It's crazy what Da Costa was doing.
Yeah, he was. I think he got a warning for this action. He was crashing into Pascal in turn. What was it, 19? Yeah.
I wonder
on the final lap.
I wonder if they'll ever do a Da Costa onboard version of that last race, because it would definitely be really interesting to watch all the weaving and the driving Pascal deliberately wide and cutting him off. It was definitely, I guess, Jaguar or Da Costa's idea to just make Pascal like his race hell. I think it was it was entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I just want to ask Tobias about to Tokyo for next season. Because obviously we're leaving London, and the tight, twisty nature of London, right, has obviously played a big, massive part in this championship. And we're going to go to a tight, twisty. I know the track might get slightly changed, but let's face it, the majority of that track will probably stay fairly similar. It'd be interesting to see what they do with Tokyo, but I'm still expecting it to be a tight, twisty track. Do you reckon, in going into the new era with the bigger cars, that this type of racing, this type of argy-bargy racing, a bit of dirty tactics here, there and everywhere, do you think we could see that going into the season finale potentially next year if it goes to the final race?
I hope not, to be honest. It depends. Nobody knows how the racing with the Gen 4 cars will be. And for sure, those city tracks, those tiny city tracks like London, like Tokyo, we don't know how the layout will be, but I think it will be, again, with some very, very tight corners. This leads to situations like we saw at the weekend. And I have to say I'm not a big fan of this kind of racing.
But do you think Formula E are? Different question. Do you think? Because I think the answer is yes. I think Formula E have loved this.
Yes, they are, because it's people are talking about it.
Exactly.
They're discussing it. If they would do the season finale in Shanghai, nobody would discuss about it, and for us as media, it's good to have stories. We have strong comments from the drivers. We can make something out of it, and that's the problem that Formula E has, is the lack of recognition in the world of motorsport. They want to get more attention, and I think these kind of discussions bring them a lot of attention in the motorsports world.
Yeah, and
but if it's a good kind of discussions that's ongoing, I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah, but do you think that's why we're at Tokyo?
Those kind of race. Sorry?
Do you think that's why we're at Tokyo for the end of the season next year?
Absolutely.
But
that's the reason.
Fingers crossed then the monsoon tyres are good, right? From Bridgestone, because you never know what we might get in Tokyo, because the rain there was incredible when it did fall down. But if there's lightning in the air, I don't think a monsoon tyre would save us for that, because if there's lightning, we wouldn't even be racing. So
for sure.
So that's the only issue with that. But it's just interesting. We'll end the discussion with. Let's talk about Taylor Barnard, actually, because I think he deserves a mention. Youngest ever race winner, taking that away from Maximilian Gunther. I was angry with Mahindra, because I don't know how they've managed to lose 2 cars to 1 against Taylor Barnard. I'm going to say they took their attack mode both at the same time, which you wouldn't normally do, but they've come out with the statement of they were just fighting for the team's championship. We'll talk about that in 2 seconds. But Taylor Barnard, a dismal season for Penske. Like, I don't think anyone really at any point thought Taylor Barnard could potentially win a race. He's got the talent too, yes. But what a shock result on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think it's not the car, I think it's the team, actually.
Yeah.
Citroen is driving with the same powertrain. They have literally the same car, and they were a lot better in kind of about tactics and something like that. It was the first podium for DS Penske in the whole season in the final race.
Yep.
I think this says a lot, and how many podiums did Nick Cassidy and Jean Reverne have during the season? 6 or 7?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Quite a few, but also a race win.
But also a race win, yes, of course. But I think they have done many mistakes in terms of strategy during the whole season. And they were absolutely lucky to get this victory presented on a towel, because that's
it was because
I think the whole situation was caused by Antonio, to be honest. Antonio, who was in P4, and the Mahindra guys, they knew P2 and P3 are enough to overtake Andretti. And that's what they did, and they wasted their attack modes. Taylor Barnard waited until the very end to use his attack mode. And then he had the big advantage of the all-wheel drive and the 350 kilowatts of power. And he took the lead, and Nick de Vries was not able to overtake him back. And to be honest, he didn't want to overtake him.
Yeah.
If it was Edo, it would be a different story, I think, because Edo has no win since Seoul 2022, the final race of Gen 2. But Nick already has 2 victories this season, so he didn't need to fight for another one. P2 and P3 was enough.
Really good stat, though, because obviously he had a terrible start to the season, and then he finishes the season with 3 race wins. Would have just been like, what a turnaround that he did with his whole season 12.
But he had nothing to win. Fighting for the win, maybe Taylor closes the door and they crash, and then Mahindra would have been the big loser, finishing in P4 in the teams. So they had a safe P3, and they drove it home.
Yeah, they did. It's just a shame, really, that they had the opportunity to get P3 with a 1-2, and they sacrificed it, which obviously allowed Taylor Barnard to win. And I fully agree with you. I don't think Taylor Barnard would have won that race if it was a generic Formula E race, like in London, where there wasn't any of these dirty tactics. I think the dirty tactics played into the top 3. They weren't in. You didn't see them. We didn't need to see them, because They were so far in front of everybody else because of what was going on behind. It was incredible. But Tobias, we're going to let you go. But thank you so much. What plans have you got for the off season, or are you like the teams? There is no such thing as an off season.
To be honest, there's no off season for me.
Silly season.
For example, we collected so much stuff. We were 4 people of eFormula in London. We collected so many things for the off season, and hope to produce more content for all of you. Even you British guys with our page eFormula News, and we hope to keep you up to date and have some interesting stories to come for you.
Oh, amazing stuff. We look forward to them. And but thank you for being on the show this season. It's been an absolute honour, as I said to you yesterday. But honestly, I do get a break. Make sure though you do give some time for yourself, because it's a long season, and I know how it feels. It's non-stop. Your brain is just constantly thinking. I know how it is, but make sure you get some rest and enjoy, and we will see you. We'll probably have some FE bars across the off season at some point that we can grab you in for some interesting talking points, but until then, Tobias, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for being part of the whole Formula E zone thing, prediction stuff, or something like that. Really appreciate it. I really like to work with you together, and looking forward to see you in Madrid, I think.
Yeah, in Madrid, indeed. I can't wait. Right,
Same
Tobias, we'll see you soon. Right, ciao.
Yes.
What a legend that man is. I love that man so much. I've got so much time for him, and the fact that he's got so much time for us as a community as well, because he also came down to the meetup. We got to love him. But we're going to fire on. We're going to take a small break at 9 o'clock, hydration break. But for the next 12 minutes, we're going to take your calls. We're going to go to Spark Plug Motorsport BDS, because BDS started the waiting room. He was in there 20 minutes early. So I'm like, you've got to be next in. And then we'll go from there. But hopefully he will unmute soon. If you don't unmute, though, we'll call you back, and we'll get some. So I know you're in the chat. Keep talking in the chat, and we love that. There we go. BDS, you're on the FE bar. What would you like to talk to us about?
Well, I got multiple things to say. I mean, first of all, Sunday was fantastic, absolutely unbelievable to be there. To see you guys.
Yeah. Same with us.
Yeah. But as I reflecting on that Wehrlein crash, It just reminded me of something that I think Tictum said on a Twitter post or something at the start of the season about the driving standards. And I'm just thinking now, had he thought that something like that could happen, regardless of whether or not it was intentional, because I think it was a sort of Hail Mary sort of thing to try and get past Dennis going through there, and it's the type of mistake I think anyone could make in a situation that tight. If you've driven the track in Formula Legends, which is the only example I have, that it is not easy at all to just keep it out of the walls on yourself, let alone with other cars around you. So,
is
it intentional? Maybe, but is it more reflective of the track being tight and it being 3 into not exactly 3 into 1 not going, but there just not being enough space for all of them to go through cleanly? I think that's more of it.
Yeah, I just think it was 3 until 1 doesn't go, right? You had Joel and do they make contact? Do they make contact if Joel's not there, for example? Do they both get through that safely? But unfortunately, Joel was there, and
they probably rubbed wheels, but nothing too serious.
But it's, as I said, for me, it's still a Stonewall penalty, right? For Pascal, there's no, can't get away with that. But calling it deliberate, I think, and I think, right, he got a 5-second penalty converted into a free place grid penalty.
That's fair.
If the FIA thought he did that deliberately, the problem Formula E have is even if you disqualified him from that race,
what can they do? He scored no points.
Yeah. He scored no points and he'd still be the world champion, right? So, for me, right, if we let's turn this story
similar to season 2, in fact.
Let's turn this story around and let's forget the crash for 2 seconds. Jake Dennis lost the world championship. Unfortunately, Jake Dennis lost the world championship on Sunday at qualifying. Right? That's where he lost the world championship. Because let's say Da Costa was in his antics and did the exact same thing. Dennis wins the world championship because Dennis would have scored points. But the reason why Dennis was down there is because of his terrible qualifying performance. That's why he was there. Mitch Evans, unfortunately, there's something about London. He's probably going to hate Brands Hatch because it's not going to be called the Brands Hatch Eprix. It's going to be called the London E-Prix, and he thinks it's just the voodoo's going to happen over there.
Yeah.
Right? But the good news for him is that it's not the last race of the season. It's a race in the middle of the season for Mitch Evans. But unfortunately for Mitch Evans, right, that unluckiness of the full course yellow, that cost him, right? He was 21 points behind, right, going into Sunday's race. That's nearly impossible. That was like Lewis Hamilton one season when he was in the title fight and he's 21 points back in like 2010. And you're just like, yeah, 2010. And you're like, he's not in it, right? So Mitch wasn't really in it on Sunday. He had the biggest of outside chances and he only slightly became into it because of what the craziness was happening. But because the craziness happened and Evans, got a bit...
It was too far back.
Yeah, it got a bit too far back because Da Costa was so busy defending from Wehrlein. The gap that he left to the front runners was too big, so Evans couldn't catch it up to win the race. So you could argue, Da Costa's done a great job of blocking Wehrlein, but he didn't help Evans.
I think if the only way Evans could have won the championship yesterday would have been if that Wehrlein incident, which was basically the only incident on the day, had become a safety car, bunching up the field, and then he can try and get past the 3 cars in front, but it would have still been a task.
Like Jack said about Dennis, I think you need to qualify first if you wanted to win that title. You had to win qualifying because those 3 extra points as well would have gone a mile, absolute mile.
Yeah, and I honestly think
it still would have been a must-win for Evans if he got those 3 extra points. No,
it still would have been a must-win for anyone.
Pascal won that title in qualifying really, when he got Dennis.
Pascal won that title over the season.
Right? No, completely.
He secured it at
It's not a playoff system,
for
so
me.
yeah.
He secured it because Dennis, fair play to Dennis, right? He was brilliant towards the latter part of the season. He was brilliant, right? And that Andretti came alive. Don't know what they found, what they did, but that Andretti came alive. And he was brilliant. He showed why he was the Season 9 world champion. Because all of a sudden, even Drugovich, poor Drugovich, he's had a good season, Drugovich, can't complain, but he could not compete with Jake Dennis at that moment.
Must use that TWG AI to figure out a good setup or something.
Yeah, but for Dennis, though, that's the start of the season when Andretti was struggling, problem. But who was doing well overall at the beginning of the season? Pascal Wehrlein. In the middle, he had a little rough patch in the middle, Monaco... Berlin, like around there.
It was Asia, wasn't it?
Rough patch.
Everything in Asia went wrong for Pascal.
But he won in Shanghai.
Oh yeah, that's
true. He
true.
won in Shanghai. So overall, he was more consistent. So for me, take the dirtiness out of it. He was the deserving champion. In my opinion, he was the deserving champion because he was quick throughout the whole season. So he didn't have a Dennis last minute surge. But and Formula E is so crazy. You say the most consistent driver normally wins the championship, and I don't want to just look at London and go, he won it because he crashed into Dennis. But you could argue that what he'd done beforehand was enough for him to go. And that's my opinion. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
I don't disagree with that. It's just the fact that the crash happened itself. Like, I think the penalty is warranted. Some can say it's a racing incident, but there is, as a driver, there must be at least a part of your head when you're going alongside your main championship rival. There must be some part that makes you think, do I want to keep him in the race? But
Pascal had the most podiums drawn with Roland, but Pascal had, I think,
and Roland's not even
three wins. Roland had one.
Yeah. But Roland had a lot of no scores, even or low scores in points. But he did pick up a few podiums, and he did have a good season. I want to talk about because Music Loops for Life in chat talks about Muller, right?
Yes.
And Muller's defensive drive. Now, I'm gonna be honest here. I thought Muller did the most perfect defensive drive, and I think that's a big difference, right? Because I said, and effectively, Antonio Felix da Costa, in my opinion, right, if there were not walls, he would have got a penalty for forcing a driver off the track, and was probably lucky not to get investigated for forcing drivers off the track, for Wehrlein off the track. Whereas I would say Muller on Saturday drove the most perfect defensive drive against Mitch Evans, right? It was blocking in the right way. He positioned his car beautifully, and he was unlucky himself. But Mitch Evans deserved obviously more because he did eventually get past him and was quick at the right time. It was just unlucky for Mitch. But Nico did it right. It was a game. Of course it's a game, but you've got to play the game. You can't not play the game. You have to play the game.
Yeah.
But he did it in the right way.
I think Muller as well was a great teammate to Pascal. I think back to Madrid when Pascal was coming through, Muller just moved straight over and knew where the priorities were. And I think them pair, they haven't had any dramas. They seem to be really comfortable with each other. And you could, compare that to Evans and Costa at Madrid. That was quite heated. So I think Muller was a really good rear gunner, probably the best rear gunner. And I think he was really fair in London. I think he played the game. He made Mitch have to re-question what he wanted to do, and that's why he pitted and did the pit boost when he did, because he needed to think of something fresh, because he wasn't going to get past Muller.
Yeah,
I don't think. Well, he did in the end, but
one last thing before I go. It's about Acosta and Wehrlein. I put something in the group chat. I put a Pinterest link to an image of Paul Tracy wearing a Nacho Libre suit in 2004 or something, when he was being the hottest headed he's ever been in his career over in the USA. Something wants me to see that. I kind of want to see that happen in some form next year, because there is a rivalry and a half there.
I'd love to know if Amazon are making another series of Driver, because
I hope so.
To be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure, because normally in the media pen you would spot the cameras and you spot the microphones, and I haven't actually seen them. All I know is that Cupra are making a documentary, so there will be a Cupra one at some point.
It seems like they did one for season 10 or season like that, and then there was another one 2 years later. So it looks like they don't do it year on year.
So we'll see. But anyway, BDS, thank you so much for coming on. And
love being here.
We will talk to you soon.
Yeah.
And it's great to see you on
See you
Sunday
later.
as well.
Yeah, lovely to see
you.
Okay, right. we're going to take a small hydration break. See, look, my water is low. We're going to blitz through your calls because we have a strict curfew of 10 p.m. So we're going to be gone for a couple of minutes, but this is a perfect chance for you to join the Discord and have your say on the show. So we will see you in a couple of minutes. Hello everybody and welcome back to the FE Bar, the only show where you can have your say on everything you love about Formula E. We've got a lot of people in the waiting room and we want more. But we've got 1 hour. As we said, we've got a strict curfew of 10 p.m, but we're going to try and fit as many of you in as possible. We're going to start straight away with Alex. Alex, you're on the FE Bar. How are you? Please be there. I know everyone's having hydration breaks, but you got to come back. Hydration break is over. The match has started.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. What would you like to talk about?
About the last race of the season.
Good place to start. It's
Pretty
a good
chaotic.
place. Yeah, it was chaotic. What did you make of it then? What's your opinions on it all?
I think Da Costa for me was a little bit aggressive, but Wehrlein's like what he said is not appropriate.
Why do you think? What did Wehrlein say to you?
The comment of unsportsmanlike, is that what you're referring to?
And like, it's still his job. If Evans needs to win the championship, Da Costa will do anything to prevent Wehrlein from winning. Still going with the legal things, no taking your rival out, please. But for example, Muller did the same on Saturday, and no one complained.
Because Muller did it.
Well, Evans complained.
Right. Yeah, Evans would complain, but because he knows the job. Evans would do exact. Let's say the Costa was going for the title, and it was roles reversed. He would do exactly the same. It's just because you're frustrated. You're on the other side of it, right? You want to get past, but you can't get past. You're at a racetrack where it is so hard to overtake. And if you're going to do it, you've got to be gutsy about it. And it's hard, and it's annoying, and it's frustrating. So I understand why they complain. But honestly, why no one complained about Muller is because Muller did a perfect job.
I think he was clean.
Yeah, Muller was way cleaner than Da Costa, in my opinion. He did an incredible job, and it worked. Evans was almost out of the championship fight for the last race. Then, Da Costa tried to do the same in a more aggressive way. And then, it happened. He lost like 5-6 places in 2 corners when the peloton caught them. And, then the Dennis Eriksson incident happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Muller's was good car positioning. Da Costa was just closing the door all the time.
Yeah, like Muller is Swiss and he's very polite, we would say, driving, and he doesn't want to take the elbows out when they're side by side. We saw that when Evans was in attack mode, he didn't defend too much.
Yeah.
I think the difference as well is Porsche had the 1-2. They always had the advantage from the beginning, as the games that were played on Sunday was just the games that were played on Sunday. You know, Porsche did a fantastic job on Saturday. Obviously, whether Muller put the brakes on to let Pascal have pole, I believe that was again another team game. But you know, Muller doesn't need the points. He's never going to win that championship. He was in contention, but only statistically, not realistically.
Yeah.
Muller basically did what a wingman needs to do.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But it's what you expect when we get to this stage of the season. It's what you have to expect. You have to expect that there is going to be some gamesmanship because, and I go back to Tokyo, right? And I interviewed Antonio Felix da Costa at Tokyo, and he said, "I will do anything I can to help Mitch Evans win the championship." And he tried. It was a bit counterintuitive but Mitch Evans was a bit unlucky. If that didn't happen and Mitch Evans finished second or third in Saturday with the 4-course yellow, we'd all be sitting here right now talking about the fairy tale of Mitch Evans getting that Jaguar World Championship. And that's, unfortunately, you do all that work, right? It's like you do all that work. I love a football reference. You do all that work, you get to the Champions League final, and you get a man sent off in the first 10 minutes. And your game's over, right? And you did all that hard work to get to that position, and something's happened, or you score an own goal by the most unluckiest own goal in the possible that you could do, right? It's exactly the same, right? Mitch Evans, did all that hard work, had a great season, but at that moment it was just wrong place, wrong time, and championship over.
But it's sport, isn't it? So I think that's what makes it beautiful, is actually that we get to talk about it from these perspectives, that things happen, and that's what we want. We don't want boring races, and we certainly don't want the car at the front always winning, which we're very...
he basically had pretty bad luck on the first race with that full course yellow. So
no, indeed he did.
Very unlucky.
Indeed he did. Right, Alex, have you got anything else that you'd like to say before we let you go?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I have hope on Cassidy, and like a Ferrari fan, I will say next year is our year.
For who? Who's the driver? I missed it. For Cassidy. Cassidy.
For Cassidy, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was Cassidy. I was going.
Well, if Jeff wins, I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, he made this decision, right? So I can hold him account. He left Jaguar to pursue Citroen, thinking that this would be the best position that he could be in to win races.
Yeah.
So, and if that doesn't happen, then we'll be asking the question: was it the right thing to do? Especially if Jaguar were winning races where he could have been.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, if he stayed at Jaguar this season, I wouldn't have been surprised if we were sitting here right now saying that Nick Cassidy is the world champion. Because,
that's the shit.
I just don't think the Citroen 100% was fully ready to fight. But they had a consistently decent car that could challenge here and there. But I do think if Cassidy was in that Jaguar this season, we could be talking about a completely different championship, because I think Pascal Wehrlein is up there as one of the best drivers in Formula E at this present time. Yeah. But I'll still stand by that I think Nick Cassidy is the best driver overall.
Yeah, and I think if he had the Jaguar, he's a consistent guy, Cassidy, so he will score points to win the championship, because Wehrlein had so much DNFs.
Yeah, 100%, and considering how consistent Nick was over the season, you're 100% right. Alex, though, we have to let you go because
okay,
we got a full house today, which we were expecting because it's the championship season, and we've got to try and get through everybody. But thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for becoming part of our community. It's a pleasure to have you.
Well, see you guys next season.
See you guys. Hopefully, you'll see us before next season. But we'll see. We'll see.
Right.
Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll speak to you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye. Splendid. Right, I am going to get a first-time caller in, and it's a really important first-time caller because we have James Harmon, who was the Welsh Formula E superfan who used to go on the podium and give the drivers the trophy. I'm speaking slowly because he is muted, and I'm hoping that he is realizing that I've picked him and he is on the show and he has unmuted. Hello there, James. How are we? Yes. Lovely to have you on. Thank you so much for joining our community, and it was lovely to see you on the weekend. What did you make of that title fight and what happened in London?
First of all, hello, can I be heard?
Yes. You can be heard, we can hear you.
That's good. I'll admit, I'm a little bit nervous. It's my first time on this, but first of all, thank you so much for having me on, and hello to everyone. I think it was a crazy season finale, let's just say, for that. And you know how this sport is. It's like one of the most exciting series that you possibly have, and just to see that we had such an amazing season finale was incredible. I will admit, I went into Sunday after qualifying thinking, Pascal would walk it because of obviously where the grid positions were. But then obviously all the racing happened basically, you know, what was going on, and then suddenly it looked like we didn't know which way it was going to go. I was standing there like watching, like thinking, this is just all gone crazy, and suddenly it was going one way and then the other, and then the incident happened, but still it was such an amazing finale for if you're on the neutral fan base. It's just brilliant for Formula E.
Yeah, I have to admit, my brother-in-law came. It was the first time, going to a Formula E race. I had to teach him a little bit, but he wanted to experience it because, he knows me and he knows how much I love it. And he wanted to experience it. And he said it was chaotic. Like, he couldn't believe he couldn't keep his eyes off it. And he's really looking forward to maybe watching a little bit more and getting into it and so forth. So so I fully agree. For as a neutral, it was a really, really, really good spectacle. I was like you, James. I said it's over.
Yeah.
I said it's over. Right? I was over. Wehrlein's the champion. When Dennis mucked up in qualifying, I was like, it's over. What can you do? And it was over, even with all the chaos. It meant nothing because none of them got anywhere close to being in a position where they could be even Dennis, right? Because where Dennis was, even though for a split second, for all of 10 seconds, he was in a championship winning position, which is nuts to think about that happened. Right, but he lost it pretty quick. He lost it pretty quickly, and even where he was with Pascal Wehrlein at the time, he was nowhere near where he needed to be, right, to win that championship. And Evans was nowhere near that they needed to be. So they can talk about the antics, you can talk about the drives. Effectively, on the day, Evans wasn't good enough, and Dennis wasn't good enough. And if you weren't good enough, it allowed Pascal to do what Pascal did and win. So, but yeah, I was definitely like you, like absolutely shocked that it got as crazy as it did.
I'll tell you.
Yeah,
what,
it was.
I was on the same feeling as you. Once qualified, finished. I think because it was London, I just thought this track, and especially seeing it the day before, it was like, how is this going to give us this title fight? And I remember going back upstairs. And Pico was like, there is 2 attack modes, and then I was like, ooh yeah, this might spice it up. So I did kind of have a bit of optimism, but still, I was like, how is this even going to go down to the wire? And I think we actually are grateful the way it went, as much as it was a bit controversial with.
I'll be honest. I don't think anyone could have predicted just how crazy that race get. Even though we know Formula E can spring up chaos, and I was ironically saying in the day earlier, even though I thought it was going to be relatively normal race, I was like thinking, well, FE is still chaos, anything can happen. But I didn't actually think it was going to go super crazy, and that's what, even though we've seen Formula E grow from where it was to where it is now, it still continues to find a way to surprise me when I least expect it.
Yeah. And you've watched probably as all the races like I've watched all the races, and even for me, like I'm shocked at exactly how that happened because it was nuts. I think that's the only way to say it. James, before we let you go, you've done an absolute brilliant job. Anything else that you'd like to add or talk about before we let you go?
All I'll say is I think Gen 4, if it's as good as it's going to be, could really take Formula E to the next level. And the calendar for next year does look amazing. And I tell you what, I cannot wait. I really cannot. I think
what race are you looking forward to the most? What race are you looking forward to the most?
Well, 2, I will say. Brands Hatch, because I think it's been coming for a while, and I'm so excited to see Formula E around Brands Hatch. And if we saw how crazy London was this weekend, imagine what Tokyo is going to be like next year. So I am looking forward to that as well.
Yeah. You and me both. You and me both. James, it has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're more than welcome. I hope you've enjoyed the show and you're enjoying it, and hopefully you'll become a bit of a regular.
I will, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. And
rock those nerves as well, because when I first did the FE bar, I was nervous.
Yeah.
And 9 to 10 months later, I was interviewing Degrassi, and I told him I was very, very nervous, and he said he wasn't going to eat me alive, so I was very grateful.
Okay, thank you so much, guys.
No
Enjoy.
worries. See you later.
I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
I thought he was going to say Brands Hatch and Zandvoort.
So did I.
I'm looking forward to, and then he goes to Tokyo, and I was like,
Tokyo was left
that
field.
really
I was like, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Got to love a season finale, though, haven't we?
Yeah, we gotta love it. Right, let's find out how Mr. Mazror Khan has done on his season 12. Our book. Bingo cards.
Oh,
you don't buy the book now. It's basically finished unless you save up. Save up for next season's one. But let's find out how you've done.
Okay. You have seen it on the How the FE Barks channel section. I posted my images.
Yeah, I did see, but I didn't read it, so on purpose because I wanted you to tell me.
Okay. So the bingo cards I've ticked are Taylor Barnard wins a race first time. Remember, I wrote this in February.
I'm gutted about that still.
So, okay. So Taylor Barnard wins a race in February first time. Tick. Zane Maloney scores points. Joel Eriksson scores a podium. Degrassi gets a top 5 finish in the race. He literally won the race. Pepe Marti points and podium. Check. Mahindra Racing top 3 in constructors. Check. I told you so. Filipe Dragovic gets a pole. Citroen Racing pole position, and Muller wins a race, and a brake urgent issue after a car locks up. You can say the brake by wire issue that some of the cars had kind of like counts. So those are like my predictions, and I predicted, if you looked at my other images, the season predictions, I predicted constructors, the team's champions to be Porsche. I didn't write the drivers' championship because I was too nervous. I said there will.
So you should be with that finale.
I mean, I was like, a few days ago, I was like holding up the pen last week before the London E-Prix, and then I thought, nah, I'm gonna jinx someone. Because I already jinxed Eduardo Mortara. Look where he ended up. Yep. Right before Shanghai, I said, yeah, Mortara's... And,
a lot of your credentials were lost that day.
Yes, I've lost a lot of my credentials. But I did nail, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mortara's average qualifying better than De Vries. I think that will also tick out. So I've got 12 out of 20, I think, correct. 12 of my 20
it's not bad. Not bad at all.
Card, you don't always win, so, you know.
Yeah,
that's... 12 is good. You know,
Thank you very much.
I did my season predictions, not as good as that.
There's more. By the way, there's more. I wrote there will be 9 different race winners. I wrote,
wow. Yeah.
And it's ultimately 11. Okay, yeah. There was ultimately 11.
I wrote 11 and I'm gobsmacked. Barnard saved me.
Oh man, Barnard's win. I predicted the new race winners to be Nico Muller, Taylor Barnard, and Joel Eriksson. And so 2 of them came. No, I got 2. Nico Muller and Taylor Barnard. I got 2 correct. Muller won in Berlin. Barnard won the last race. New driver on the podium. I predicted Filipe Dragovic and Pepe Marti. Both tick. I wrote drivers with most DNFs to be Mitch and Evans. This is in February, by the way.
Yeah, but that's when predictions are normally, made.
I got Ticktum. Was Ticktum the one? He got 4.
Statistically, the driver with the most DNFs or
Oscar. We need Oscar here to find out with the FE Stats website, just on the go.
Oh god, I think it was Pepe Marti from the looks of it.
Yeah.
Ticktum had 3 retirements. A lot of Nato, Maloney, Luke Degrassi, Ticktum. They each had 3 retirements. Marty had 4 retirements. So I think he had the most.
Ticktum's got 4. Ticktum's got 4. The first 3, and then round first Berlin, apparently, according to the
okay. How many others? Some of the top finishers. Do you know something bizarre? There's more. I said the biggest team rivalry was gonna be Jaguar versus Porsche. It was a very easy prediction. I'm not surprised this came true. Yeah. Teammates who clashed the most. I wrote Mitch Evans and Antonio Felix da Costa. What? And driver to not be on the grid in Gen 4. I think I wrote this midway down the season. I wrote Lucas Degrassi and Norman Nato. That was like almost.
They were good choices. They were odds on. Apart from Degrassi,
they were like viable.
Norman was gonna be they were viable options.
They were viable.
You wouldn't have got much money back on a bet on that one.
Yeah, exactly. And I haven't. Okay, your season headline. I didn't actually thought about what the season headline is because there's so many headlines.
The headline is that free drivers hate each other. Dennis Da Costa
Okay,
and Wehrlein.
Yeah.
That is the
I
headline.
can't remember what I put in
Da
that. in
Costa
that
one,
box.
yeah, yeah.
I was just want to say though, when we designed that page, I originally was imagining just putting one option in, but the fact that you put multiple and got multiple correct is amazing, honestly.
Oh, thank you very much. I had super fun enjoyment like writing on this booklet, and I think my analysis is like almost like I am astonished by my own analysis.
And I spoke to Jack when
I was looking
final
into the
race
chart
was
and
over.
yeah, and like when yeah, you go on. You were saying?
I was just saying I spoke to Jack after the final race, and I was like,
Hello?
we want to get this book going up again, so we are going to invite. I'm going to see if Jack can get a little group or someone to call on, so we can actually discuss with the people that use the book how we can make it better. Because honestly, we made it for you guys as fans, and seeing the enjoyment. We want to bring it again for Gen 4. We're trying to make you the ultimate pundits. That's the idea. So yeah, it'd be good to hear what we can do going forward. But carry on with your stats, because I'm dying to hear what else you've got.
8, 9, 10, 11. Beg your pardon, it's not 12. It's I think 11 of them that came true. 11 out of 20. But
How many lines did you get?
how many?
How many
what?
lines?
Oh, I got one line. I got the fourth line correct. The fourth line: Drogovic pole, Mortara average qualifying, Citroen pole, Muller wins the race. These four lines have all been ticked off. The ones that didn't came to correct, or my prediction, or almost Ericsson outscores Boehm in the season. That was a long shot. Dan Tickton wins at London Excel Center. This one not checked. Roland has a tough season. Okay, that's complicated. Pascal Wehrlein being consistent. I didn't mark this as a bingo because
I think he has been consistent. He won the world championship.
No. He had 7 non-points finishes.
You can't have a bingo card though and be subjective. Like you can't have subjectivity.
Oh, okay. So will you count this as correct? Because when I wrote Pascal Wehrlein being consistent,
He got the most podiums.
He got the most podiums. He won the world championship.
most.
Yeah,
yeah. I was like,
He's more consistent than the others.
Okay, then that's 12. Then that's 12 bingo cards
We'll
correct.
give you that one.
Thank you.
Excellent. So
you.
you've done really good.
Okay.
Thank you so much, though, for being a huge part of this book. If you don't know what Mazur is talking about, he's talking about our stat tracker book that we made last week, and I didn't fill it in because I didn't. But that's the bingo card. That's the section that he filled in, and then he had these predictions here that he also filled in, and so forth. So amazing, and I think both me and Kyle are just as grateful to know that this book was that important to you, and that
I had a lot of
using
fun. This was like my morning break. This was like my morning breakfast time spending. Like, you open a newspaper and you like pick out crosswords and everything. This was that type of book. I absolutely had one.
Crosswords in there next season.
Okay, that would be a nice idea.
Maybe we put a word search in at the back in it for the kids.
No, this was fun. This was a brilliant idea. I absolutely loved reading this book. It kept me engaged about the championship. It gave and the very nice analytics about the stats. And fun fact: during the races, I think I got once right. There was one instance when I predicted Nico Müller will win in Berlin, and that one came true. This was this was like the Berlin race one. And that was like, I'm so happy because I was predicting Nico Müller to win a race like twice before. And Eduardo Mortara, I think I've written predicted to Mortara to win a race like 4 times across the chapters. And nothing. I came close by mentioning that Porsche would defend both their teams and manufacturers titles in one bingo card. But unfortunately, it was only the manufacturers and not the teams. But then again, I came close. I said Mitch Evans will win an Asian race. Look what happened. I would love if we have another edition of this book. I'm definitely buying it. Like I'll buy it on the first order when
it's been released.
When it's been released, I'll buy it in a heartbeat.
Well, excellent. Thank you so much. It means the world. Mazrul, we're gonna have to let you go.
Yeah, I understand. So
But
I wanted to be quick.
But it's been absolutely amazing having you on this season and going through it. So thank you so much, and it means the world to us. Honestly, it really does.
See you next FE bar.
So see you on the next FE bar. We don't know when that is yet, but there'll be one.
Okay.
All right. See you later.
Bye. Ciao.
What lovely. And I did use the book. Right. Look, there's proof. I did use the book. However, I did slack on the book. Because look, it's Monaco and I've filled it in, to be honest.
I think it's
I started well.
Prep, though I found the same way. It's because we're so much prepping for our own material, it's hard to enjoy it as a fan, in it really. So
I've dragged up Connor, and Connor, I want to say thank you because I did see it, and I haven't actually mentioned it. But if you rejoined for another month of membership, thank you so much. Massively appreciate all your support. I can't believe
how much is it? Is 2 packs like 28 quid?
Helps. Every little helps. I made all that saving up, all that 28 quid helped me go to Tokyo with everybody else's contributions. So every little helps. And when I did that track walk, it was true when I said if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have been there because it was all your efforts in helping. And if you would like to become a member, I'll use this opportunity. You can become a member to the channel, and it just helps support us with our content and basically going to more races, getting better equipment, and therefore providing you some of the best Formula E content that we can possibly give to you. But Connor, you're not here to endorse Biggie a member. You're here to talk about this championship finale. What did you make of it?
Yeah, it was interesting, but it was a bit weird for me on the Sunday because I was out doing something when the race was on.
Yeah.
So I kind of followed. The signal wasn't great, so yeah, I know.
How dare you?
So I kind of I had my
dedication
signal
to the cause. But anyway, go on.
I didn't have great signal, so I kind of when I got home in the evening, I knew the result in terms of Pascal had won and sort of the incident that had happened with him and Dennis and Ericsson and all that kind of stuff, and I kind of was like. When I was watching the race, I was kind of sat there thinking, we're on like lap 25 of 35. Pascal's 5th. Dennis is still like 13th. How does this happen?
Yeah.
And then eventually you just see him drop because of, I think, was it, I think it was probably DaCosta blocked him and then everybody came through and...
I'll tell you one thing that's really interesting we haven't talked about is actually Nissan's strategy, and also Dennis was doing the same. Now, I was in the grandstands, and the one thing you don't get in a TV experience is you don't get to feel the gaps. But honestly, all the cars went through, and then it was like 10 seconds, and then it was Dennis, and then 2 seconds later it was both Nissans, and it was like, whoa, this is weird. Like, what are they planning? Like, it was. I wanted to know. And if you look where Nissan finished, now obviously there was all the chaos, but they finished in the points, and they were at least 25 seconds off the Costa pack at least. Like, honestly, the gaps between it was unreal.
Mm.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think they mentioned on the commentary where there was like maybe a track where you can overtake better. That might have been a better strategy, but you could. It was so difficult to defend, and if the car in front didn't want you to get through, like there was not a lot. You needed like overtake, or you needed attack mode, and a good run, and them to not get a good run, and then that. So it was quite very difficult to overtake.
For all the dirtiness, we had some great racing. Like, we really did. We had some great racing. Even Wehrlein getting through the Costa, and that last... This is what I'm going to miss about the XL, because when the moves happen, it takes 4 or 5 corners to set it up. And then, because that was a great move.
4 or 5 corners to finish it.
to finish it. But that's what you love, because you're watching it and they're doing the switchbacks and they're going here and there. And all of a sudden you're just like, and when it's pulled off, you're like, wow, like that was so good. And I go back to Dennis, and I said to Dennis, I said, your overtakes were brilliant on Saturday. That got you the P2. That it was imperative that you got those overtakes done to put you in that position where if you had to win, if you was a first and second, you would have to beat him, or you just needed to be ahead by a position where it was 5 points. And we got some good racing. It's just a shame that it ended the way that it ended. But overall, I've gone into sort of like a London, we're going to miss the XL kind of thing. I know some people might be happy to see the back of it, but honestly, when an overtake was possible, we did see some good wheel-to-wheel action.
Yeah, the XL was fab. I know that a lot of people's gripes was the atmosphere was a bit overdone with the music, and that's what I've seen on Reddit. A lot of people that aren't, in the FE zone and the YouTube and in this community, the outsiders of that, the newbies to Formula E have all been mentioning that it was a hard Eprix to watch in the grandstands. It's a difficult circuit, but also like, if it wasn't the season finale, would it be as scrutinised as much?
Maybe. I still think it's a special place. place.
Yeah. It's a nightclub.
I think it's one of those.
Circuit.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like we can take. Realistically, no other racing series in the world could race there.
Yeah.
It's just Formula E that can race there.
Carbon monoxide poisoning or something.
Exactly.
We're very fortunate that we don't have exhaust fumes.
Yeah, I did know, because obviously I wasn't able to make it to the race this weekend, but I did notice, because on Saturday I saw they didn't do the burnouts, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense, because I've been the past 2 years, and I didn't know that when they did that, it's like you sat in the grandstand, and then all of a sudden you're choking on tyre smoke,
and you had to wait like 10 years for it to clear.
Yeah.
I think one of my favourite experiences of the whole experience is when I think it's the medical car goes round, but they're doing the light show, so all the lights are off on the track, and you just see the medical car, and he's got his headlights on. It's hilarious to see him go around. It's like, oh yeah, of course. So yeah, it's a fun experience, but it's like that with the no smoke part. And actually, they were playing AC/DC as the lights go out, and it's one of those things that you don't get to experience on the TV. It's very, very, very different, but I think that Formula E have really lent into trying to be different with that arena, and we're going to lose that going to Brands Hatch. Obviously, we're going to get some traditional racing, and it's probably going to be a better circuit overall, but the XL had charm, and I think that's what we're all going to miss, is the uniqueness of how fun of a circuit it actually is as a fan.
Yeah. I think Gen 4 is going to open a lot of our eyes in terms of what, in terms of a fan experience, in terms of or the culture around it. Like, it could change. Like, it'd be very interesting to see how that develops. What was the last thing, Connor? What would you like to say?
I've got two very quick things.
Go
First
for
one, I know what he's saying about with the start. This is something I've noticed over the past couple races. It was all right on Sunday, but I noticed, especially in Sanya as well, that was very bad for it. And on Saturday for the London, where so we were waiting for the lights to go on or whatever, and all of a sudden we cut to on the onboards or whatever, we're doing whatever, and all of a sudden we cut to the lights, and like 4 of them are on, and it's like that's something I've kind of noticed. I think it's happened, like I said, at Sanya it was particularly bad, where it's like the TV director needs to be better at getting to that head-on grid shot before the lights
I do agree.
start.
I do agree.
Yeah.
What
Second thing.
What's your oh yeah, go on, Karen, in a second.
This is something I've mentioned a couple of times, and I think I mentioned it in the on the show previous rounds, and also in the Discord this weekend, where for a sport that is to be certified, whatever that means, very sort of sustainability is at the heart of the sport.
Yep.
They did pop up that Google Gemini AI box quite a lot this weekend. I must admit, it did seem like it was.
Is Google
It was there a bit
Gemini
more.
is Google Gemini not sustainable? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm not saying anything. We're on YouTube. I don't want to get you banned.
Wasn't it the Google I thought it was a Google Cloud London E-Prix. I think that was the sponsor.
Probably, yeah.
No one knew. No one knew who the sponsor was. No one knew. We thought it was Tinder.
It was the Tinder.
We thought it was Tinder, but it wasn't
gaff.
Tinder. But it was then GIFGAF. Who knew? Who knew who it was sponsored by? They did a whole press release about Tinder, nothing about GIFGAF. And we turn up and GIFGAF's there. Like, what's going on here? I was ready to swipe left and swipe right, but terrible.
Yeah. But yeah, with the AI boxes, I remember in the Sunday race just seeing the box pop up and it said, you know, Edo Mortara's got a bit more energy than the rest, and he's about to make he's gonna like start hounding the leaders. And then I'm thinking to myself, Edo Mortara is the leader.
Yeah.
So, you know. Boo AI, we don't like
Boo
AI.
AI.
I'll see you in Gen 4.
Boo AI. That's like boo. Who said boo AI? I wasn't saying boo AI. I was saying boo ah. All right, enough Simpsons references. Right, Connor, absolute privilege to have you on, and thank you again for being a member.
Privilege.
It's always a privilege, and thank you so much for being a member and contributing to this channel. It means the world to us.
Because it does go a long way.
You're welcome.
It does. It goes a long way. It means a lot. We're going to. I'm going to.
What I was going to say,
I'm racing the clock.
With the comparison to the lights, I wondered whether we have a smaller TV direction in comparison to the likes of F1, and maybe that's where we are starting to see a little difference in the budget of production.
Yeah, potentially. We have got the number one, the only. I don't know if that's fair to say that he's the only Jake Dennis fan, but he might as well be. We did it. Just double check that statistic because it feels like you are the only Dennis fan. We've got Chris, Mr. Jake Dennis. How are you? And how did that final race go for you? And what was your take on it?
Yeah, well, I feel like I lost 3 years off my life watching that race in the grandstands. Because it's the hope that kills you. It's the hope that kills you.
Because he was in that championship position for all of like 10 seconds, but like when you were watching it, hope must have been fading, right? Because he was stuck down there, and you probably would have had a better view than me on that from the grandstands. But then all of a sudden, it came alive, or did you think because it was coming alive further to field that it would eventually bring Dennis into play?
Well, as I say, I was obviously keeping an eye on energy and all that, and like I could see what he was trying. I did question that it got to lap 25, and I thought, well, hang on a minute, there's only 10 laps late. I think he's left this too late.
Yeah.
Credit where it's due. He could not have played that race any better. As a driver and as a team as well, say full credit to the team as well.
Yeah.
They played that to perfection. The only mistake that they made was probably attack mode into Pascal, because even they said, I had a chat with the senior engineer at Andretti on the Elizabeth line on the way back, and he said, look,
Nice.
that was our only mistake, feeding him back to Pascal, because we knew Pascal would do something.
So apparently, rumour has it that it was the Andretti boys that booed Pascal Wehrlein on the podium when he was up there.
Wow.
So are you saying from the conversations that you had, I'm not saying that they think, but they're insinuating that they think that he did it on purpose?
I better be careful what I say.
Yeah.
But they were asking questions about, look, if drivers are taking out the discussion we were having on the way back, it's like if drivers are taking out other drivers intentionally, should race bans be included? Should they start looking at race bans?
Yeah, no, I think I would agree, right? If a driver takes out, well, look at the poor Dan Ticktum, right? He lost 2 years of his racing career, right? And he gets slandered everywhere he goes. And if Pascal Wehrlein was deemed, right, to have taken out Jake Dennis further, like out of the race, then you'd expect a serious consequence. And the FIA and the stewards should have enough data to be able to pinpoint or able to have at least some evidence to suggest if he had done so or had not done so. And the fact that the penalty was only 5 seconds, and if he's got a free place grid drop, to me is they don't see it that way, right? And personally, I don't see it that way, but I haven't seen the onboard, so I need to go and watch the onboard.
Jack, is there going to be a steward's watch? Because this is definitely a big talking point for the whole season.
Potentially yes. We could have a look at that. We could have a look at that incident and have that discussion. But yeah, I'm still erring, Chris, on the side of he didn't crash into him on purpose, but I need to have all the evidence.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I haven't brought myself to watch it yet.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a bit of a
Yeah.
I will say though, Andretti for the last 7 races, not counting round 17, were really consistent, and round 17 was the only one they didn't score any points decently in the championship. So it wasn't a great race for them in round 17 for Dennis or Drugovic.
I sensed though. I would listen to an interview. I can't remember who it was that Jake Dennis had done, and I do think he's going to miss the Porsche powertrain, because it's like, well, it's up to Nissan now. You know, like, Porsche have had such a good powertrain, and Porsche in itself, the facilities that they have, you'd assume would be in a position to do a good, powertrain for next season and to be strong. Whereas I'm not saying Nissan don't, right? But I saw a little bit of like trepidation in his voice, or in his demeanor and look. Like, I've had that Porsche powertrain, could have won 2 titles, won 1 at least. Now I'm going to Nissan. Yeah, they won a title with Roland, but Nissan have been a bit hit and miss, and it's like, I hope that he has a car. Basically, he's already hoping that he has a car that is ready to be competitive, but at this precise moment nobody knows. So fingers crossed for you that Nissan powertrain, Chris, is competitive for you, because otherwise if it's not competitive, it might be in for a long couple of seasons.
Yeah, from what I've heard, again, obviously I hear things, I'm not holding out much hope. Apparently that Nissan, and you shooed me off, it was after, I can't remember which podcast it was after, and you said, "Oh, wait till the race." But I say, from what I've heard from the team, the Nissan powertrain is one of the weaker ones. Which,
yeah, and I got that sense just from that little bit of conversation that I just overheard in the media pen, and I just looked at him and I just thought he doesn't seem too excited about that. Which, but only time will tell, Chris. Only time will tell. There's a lot of development still to go before we get to testing and the first race.
Yeah, no, but I'd say there are reasons not to be confident. I'm not going to go into detail, but there are reasons not to be confident. Let's just put it that way.
Some say Lola were one of the fastest teams in the test that was just done at Estoril, but they also have the worst reliability out of the whole team, out of all the teams at the minute. So there's lots of rumours, lots of rumours coming out. But as I said, there's still plenty of time before all of that needs to be sussed out. But Chris, we've got to let you go because we still got a couple of people to squeeze in. Before our strict curfew of 11 minutes time, we might have to. But if we're 1 or 2 over, I don't think we'll get told off.
We'll be alright, Jeff.
We'll be alright. But thank you so much for coming on, and I'm glad that you got home safe.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Cheers for that, gents.
See you later.
No problem.
See you later.
Bye-bye. Right. We go from one Chris to another Chris. who is deafened and now is unmuted. Chris number two. Yeah, Chris number two. Also a member. Chris was a member, but I don't think he's on the members list at the moment. But this one definitely is. So obviously, thank you for your continued support. But hello, we haven't heard from you in a while. What were your thoughts on the final race weekend?
First of all, can you hear me?
Yeah, nice and loud.
Okay,
loud and clear.
It was a bit mad, wasn't it? Like,
indeed.
I don't really know what to say about it. I mean, I think everyone's kind of discussed it now. Like,
right. So what's your opinion on it then? Do you think Pascal has crashed on purpose? Do you think Da Costa was over the top? What's your view?
Da Costa was definitely like over the limit. Definitely, like that's a non-argument. Wehrlein's one's a bit tricky. I think it was one of them where I don't think he was crashing on purpose, but he wasn't disappointed to crash either. Like he wasn't. I feel like
that's a good way of putting it, actually.
I think he was quite happy to risk it. Like it was one of them. He'll risk it all, and if he crashes, he crashes. It wasn't like on purpose, but it was like he wasn't being careful about it either. And you can interpret that whatever you want.
What did you make of? I don't know if you've seen. I'm sure you might have seen the what the drivers said after the races. So has that swayed sort of your opinion on any of the incidences, for example?
Not really. I think you'd expect Dennis and all the other, a few of the drivers to think it was on purpose. And Wehrlein's kind of, I mean, he's been, I'm trying not to swear here.
Don't swear. Think of a different safe word.
Part of my language. Can't even think, what word should I use here?
Overzealous. I don't know. I'm thinking of posh words here. I don't know why I'm going overzealous.
I mean, to be honest, it was almost like Pascal was It was convenient.
A lot of people called him. A lot of people called him like a hypocrite.
I think with his comments, he's being a bit of a prick. I can say that, can't I?
You're on the line. I think if it was TalkSport, if it was TalkSport, he might have got dumped.
Yeah, he's just gone about this like definitely like in terms of sportsmen, the respect has gone down. Can't deny that.
There was something about it though. I must admit, when I was standing in front of Pascal Wehrlein, and I don't get in awe of drivers a lot, but you described him as a villain earlier on, Kyle, and I got that sense. But I got that sense of, but I'm one of these people because I love, where some people don't like arrogance in sport, right? But I love arrogance. I love it because when someone's there just saying, no, I want to be the best, and starts going on, I'm like, I'm all for it, mate. Like I just love it when someone's got that confidence. And I think Wehrlein, obviously he's won the championship, he's got every right to be arrogant in a sense because he's the world.
I don't think he has the right to be arrogant.
But he's the world champion. He's got two world champions. In 10 years' time, when we look at the history books, it will say Pascal Wehrlein's a two-time. We won't. I don't know. I don't think the incidents will be as big as like Michael Schumacher, where it's talked about as consistently as it was with his world championships potentially than what Pascal Wehrlein. But at the end of the day, Michael Schumacher's a 7-time world champion, is considered one of the greatest Formula 1 drivers of all time. Pascal Wehrlein could go down to a 3-time world champion potentially by the time he's finished.
He's certainly among the top 5 drivers, but he's not like so far ahead of the others where he has the right to be that arrogant.
Oh no, I think Pascal's really calculated, and him now having those 2 championships puts him at one of the best Formula E drivers for me. I think. He was quite close in last season. Obviously, I think Oliver Owen just had a better start. But
the Porsche is the best car, though. Like you can't deny that.
By far.
So like,
they're just
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm going to disagree.
If we're saying it's by far the best
I'm going to
car,
disagree.
And he's only 5 points above.
I think Mahindra had the best car.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
I think Mahindra had the best car.
But I think Porsche as an entity, they're a pressure cooker, and if you can deal with that pressure, then you can do really well in Formula E. And that's what.
I feel like I know it was a long time ago, but it wasn't. What was it? Didn't Lotterer beat him in season 7?
I don't think so.
He did, didn't he?
Can't remember.
I'll check that for you.
I can't remember off the top of my head. But
it was close.
Lotterer beating someone sounds just off at the minute because he was then proceeded to be beaten by everybody else, and kind of just faded into non-existence for a driver who actually.
Wehrlein was 8 points ahead of Lotterer. It's my bad. But like,
we're close enough. Though.
I don't think he's that far. It's one of them. It's such a tight.
He is a good driver. And I like, as I said, I like the confidence, but I am going to agree with Megan in chat, and just because I've had the privilege of knowing Wehrlein for a while. Yeah, he's got that arrogant side, which I do like about him, but when the pressure's not on, right, and he doesn't bring out that arrogant side of him, he's actually quite a funny guy. Like he'll have a laugh. He's actually quite pleasant to talk to. So
I also think it's different when they put the helmets on.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Because when I went to the press conference on Friday with Dennis, Evans, and Pascal, he was as cool as a cucumber, and he was a really likable person, and they were almost like 3 best friends. And then you put the helmets on, and they just become race car drivers, and that is part of that mentality that you have when you go 200 miles an hour down a road.
I think you can make counter arguments to that. One, the Costa can't stand them, and the Costa's everyone goes on about how nice he is. Apart from this Discord server. And then, didn't Ocon get the Force India seat over Wehrlein because Force India didn't like Wehrlein's personality?
Maybe. But obviously Pascal's a lot younger then. But Pascal's gone on to have a better.
He hasn't had a better career than
Ocon.
He hasn't.
Nah, Ocon's run a Formula 1 race, so that's a good start. But
sorry, but Ocon.
So that's a good start. But there's one Formula 1 race outweigh 2 World Championships in a different
in terms
FIA
of
category.
outside this bubble, yes, because
that's a great question. Who's had a better career, Esteban Ocon or Pascal Wehrlein?
I think that's such an easy question to answer. Ocon's been enough. If Wehrlein would have rather had Ocon's career than his career, 100%.
I don't know. I don't
think I agree.
I don't know. Okay, yeah, you want to be.
Otherwise, why wouldn't every F1 driver just join Formula E?
Okay, but then Tom. Right, but then.
Or IndyCar.
Okay, right. I was going to say Tom Christensen. Tom Christensen's had a better career than Esteban Ocon, right? Because he's won multiple Le Mans 24 hours. But Tom Christensen wasn't. You could argue was not at the pinnacle, and there's not one at the pinnacle of motorsport, which is Formula 1. So. And I feel terrible that I've just shouted Tom Christensen. But then, would you say Nick de Vries has had a better... Because, again, he's won the Le Mans 24 Hours, for example, one of the most prestigious races in the world, over Esteban Ocon's one-race victory.
I wouldn't want to go
Who had the... You love football.
Yeah, I do.
Football. So who would have had the better season if you won the Conference League or got to the quarterfinals of the Champions League?
I think you've had a better season. That's a great question. You've had a better. If you've won the Conference League, you've had a better season. You've won a trophy.
No, you'd rather get to the quarterfinals of the Champions.
Yeah, but you didn't win anything.
It doesn't matter when it's a higher level because you're comparing against better sides.
That's Wrexham.
Yeah, I get it. I think that's a great question. I think that's a question I want to put out to people on social media. Who's had a better career? What career would you have preferred? Would Esteban
Ocon, hold on,
Pascal
someone just put in chat about Albon was going to join F8 with Nissan and then joined F1. And Okay, he's struggling at back of Williams, but you'd rather be at
this
Williams
question will be
in
interesting at the end
F1
of
than
Gen 4.
Formula E.
won't it?
That's just there's not a single Formula E driver that wouldn't join F1.
Yeah, but
Just
the money's
isn't.
there. That's the difference, isn't it? But it doesn't mean it's as fun or as hard as Formula E.
It's a great debate.
It's not. I feel like you can.
I feel like that's a whole show. I feel like that could be a whole
You
show.
can prove that Formula E is easier because. Like,
I don't think
like the fact that the Grassy won a race this season. It's more unpredictable. It's more of a lottery.
My personal opinion is the reason why people gripe on Formula E is because they always compare it to Formula 1 and they're not the same. They share the name Formula, but they're completely different. Like if they were materials, one would be like linen and the other would be wood. So
it's an interesting. We'll leave it there, Chris. But you've
I've opened a can of worms.
You've opened a can of worms, and I love it. I love that you've opened a can of worms. But, you know, we were on a strict curfew of 10 o'clock, and it has actually hit 10 o'clock. But that was a really interesting call from that one little perspective there. But thank you so much for coming on. And
you're welcome. I'll see you in 40 months' time.
Yeah, see you in a while. Right, night. What a legend. Let's get Looty on. Because, let's get Looty on.
We need some TikTok stuff, don't we?
Yeah. Looty obviously was also at the E-Prix. Looty, what did you make of the final? And then we'll have a little bit of Dan Tictum chat at the end.
Good evening, guys. The final, and to be fair, chaos. That's the first word that came to mind. And in a way that it's like, there was chaos. It was spectacular. Also, I don't know, it was really good racing. Also, I don't feel like I'm in a position now to actually have an opinion on it because I actually need to rewatch it on TV before being able to say if it was good racing or not. Because I just have so many gaps in how did he end up there and how did that happen and what happened there, and so much was happening that I didn't really could follow it anymore.
I think Jason just had a bad London E-Prix, to be honest. The second race, I was speaking to someone who was in the grandstands further down, and they said that they saw this big chunk of carbon fibre come off Tictum's car in the second race, and that just explained why he just was nowhere, which is a shame.
Also. I was just talking in general at the first comments before this for the whole race. No, it was for the whole race. It was just like chaos and
it was chaos.
Bumper cars happening, and
I wanted to go back and watch it, but my day's just been so busy that I haven't had the time. And as I said, like people have seen onboards of Wehrlein, and I'm like, I haven't seen it. I've been so busy getting content out.
If you want to watch it,
so I'll go and have a look, and I might change my mind on whether or not I think he did it on purpose, but I hope it doesn't. Let's talk Dan Tictum.
8 minutes 22. If anyone wants the timestamp.
8:22. I'll write it down.
Okay.
8:22 Ver on board. Can't even remember seeing it live, to be honest with you. What was I going to say? Dan Tictum.
Yes.
Let's talk Dan. Lucky you got to spend some time with him at the pub as well. Happy days. That doesn't happen every day. It's over now, effectively. So now it's a waiting game, right? Do you think he'll be on the grid next season?
Sorry, London, things are happening outside.
Yeah, we heard an alarm, but it's all right as long as the police aren't coming for you. So it's all right.
I don't think they're coming here, so it should be fine. It's indeed a waiting game, so there are some seats still open, and there's also some questions about teams that are existing or not existing next year, so a lot will depend on that. We had a little chat with Dan at the pub after the race. He sounded pretty positive still, to be fair. So, I don't know. I think it's still open.
I hope it's open. I really do. I think he's proven. I think he knows as well, because I said this question to him on Friday, and he answered back, I think I've done enough to prove myself. And then I looked at him myself and I thought, yes, but I was like, well, it's another chance to, to prove even further, like provide more point, evidence, explain, like, that you deserve to be on the grid. And obviously I think his qualifying performances justified that as well. Especially with the
qualifying was good again this year.
His experience is what I think teams can capitalise on, and if we remember, he is a very good qualifier, and a lot of the points are going to be scored next season in the duels.
Yeah, and also like qualifying also this weekend went pretty good, let's be real, and also in most free practice sessions it went very well. If you look at the gaps on a lap basis to Pepe, it's still very big. So yeah, it's a shame the car stopped working in the second qualifying. Very handy for Porsche at that moment in time. But so it qualifying wise it was okay. The problem seems to be mainly with tires, I think, overheating. When you have to battle actually at the front, you actually have to battle, and you're actually in battles more in the beginning of the race, and that seems to be a bit of the issue. I think it shows for next year. Other type of car, also going to be a lot faster. I think he shows he's a good qualifier. Points for qualifying next year. Also, with the more aerodynamics, I do think track position is going to be more important. The cars are a bit bigger. The cars are. I think there will be a bit less frantic overtaking, I hope.
Yeah.
So it actually matters more where you qualify, and it's not like a penalty if you qualify well, which has been a lot of cases this year, that if you start the race on the front rows and you actually get penalized for that, and people at the back just walk by, like in Berlin. Everybody that started at the front ended at the back and the other way around, which is pretty ridiculous for a sport. So hopefully next year that will be less, and hopefully teams will see that. Yeah, and I think especially for a team like Lola, like Sane is there. Personally, not too convinced by Sane. So I think that would be a team that would really benefit from someone with 5 years of experience.
Yeah.
So
I think things will become clearer when we know about the teams, because at the moment we don't know about the teams. We don't know if it's going to be 11 or 12. And if that second Porsche team comes to fruition, you would take Dan Ticktum. He's got Porsche powertrain experience. He's quick. Easy money.
Yeah.
I would say the only other place from what conversations I had, he was still talking about the baby Porsche team. So I don't know if he knows something Nick de Vries doesn't know, and he thinks that might be still a possibility for him if that team does go ahead, and as unlikely as it does seem. But a team I can see him going to, even though he doesn't seem to get on with Taylor Barnard very much, is whatever happens at Penske, because I can see it working in a sense. He might not get on with Taylor that much, but Ticktum, that team has struggled, right? And I'm not saying give Ticktum leadership powers, but Ticktum could be the driver that isn't afraid to say what strategy call is right, what strategy call is wrong. And I think if I'm a team principal and my team's a bit, I don't know, bit on edge, not quite sure, right? And you've got a driver that's like, no, it should be this, and you would listen to him, I think. And I'm not sure if Jay Penske and Field Trials are those people, but I still wouldn't bet against Ticktum going to Penske. I could see it. I just think he could be that person that goes in and says, no, we need to do it like this, and if you do it like this, trust me, I'll get the results. If that's whatever powertrain they end up doing, works. And I just think, and if because teams build, I'm not saying build around Dan Ticktum because you've got Taylor Barnard. I don't think you can do that. and Taylor Barnard's proven how. But I think you could definitely, and if it doesn't work with Tictum and he could do a couple of races and, his decisions haven't worked, then you go, right, it hasn't worked. We're going to come up with some ideas now, see if we can do things better or find a middle ground and something like that. It might work. It's probably not the best way to run a team, to be honest with you, but I think Dan has got enough merit, potentially, to try and get that Penske team back up and running, because I don't want to put an asterisk next to Barnard's win, but I don't think if that London E-Prix was on the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th race of the season, I don't think he wins it. I think he wins it because of the special circumstances that has gone about, but the team obviously executed it well, and Mahindra weren't racing for the win. It kind of just fell in his lap. Again, nothing against Taylor Barnard, but
it's the same about Shanghai, though.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was round 3, 4, 5, 6, it'd probably be raining in England.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. But
exactly.
The race wouldn't have been the exact same race, so I just don't think on a normal Formula E race.
But he was quick in McLaren. I know it's a different package, but he did show some strong showings.
Taylor Barnard has the potential to be one of the best drivers in Formula E. No shadow of a doubt, right? He's just... When he went to Penske, I went, why? Because, unfortunately, and I'm sure Luty might agree, and we'll get his opinion on it, but, they hadn't done anything apart from a couple of wins for Gunther. They were always, I was like, that's not a team where I didn't see that as the team Barnard took the next step forward with. We were all praying he went to Nissan, or he found himself in a top side, but he chose DS Penske, and unfortunately, okay, he's got one win, but over the course of the season it probably wasn't the right move, but he is set to still be there next season. Luty, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think the Penske, well, especially this year, has been really bad. Like last year, I think they were still 5th team, so I can understand you going there. Also because it's DS, so you also sort of had, same level as with Citroën, basically. Powertrain situation. So if next year Porsche comes in, I think it will be logical if that maybe be an option.
Yeah.
For Penske. And honestly, I think if Dan and Taylor would be working in a team collaboration, it would actually go pretty fine when they're day-to-day working. I think that would be decent.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see. But fingers crossed, we find out. It won't be long because teams need testing days and they'll need whoever their driver in the car as quickly as possible. So we might not find out immediately, but hopefully in Dan's case, he'll know. But if Dan doesn't get a drive or realizes, I reckon he'll tell us in one way, shape or form before any. I think I honestly think, right, if you want hope for Dan Tictum, he's silent on Instagram. He's silent on whatever it is. The moment he comes on Instagram and says he doesn't have a drive, he will tell us he doesn't have a drive before the full grid is announced. I'm sure of it. I just think that's the Dan Tictum way. Right?
Yeah.
Hasn't gone his way. It hasn't gone his way, and he'll go on Instagram because he's got nothing to lose. He'll come on. Well, he's not with a team, so he can come on and say what he wants, and I feel like that's just a damn dictum. So I think the longer he's quiet on socials, the more chance he has. That's my prediction for you, to give you a little bit of hope. The more chance he's going to be on the grid in Gen 4.
And I'll be surprised if he's not there. I really will.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Do you think that's Do you think that's an appropriate thing? I hope I'm right.
I think, because that means there's still negotiations going on.
So,
I think that's true. I think it's just important that Porsche and Penske stay on the grid because it's just more seats available. so there's more chances. And also, I think it would be bad luck for FE if 2 teams would fall off the grid.
I think Penske would definitely be there. From what I heard in London, Penske should still be on the grid, right? No.
Yeah, but also with poor speed team, it's very weird that you have like a big announcement that you're gonna have a second team.
Yeah.
And
I also think Dan would have a poster boy as well. I think that there's another thing that we'd miss if he went.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the championship it would also be bad, I think.
But the championship would get over it. That's the only problem.
Yeah.
It would be bad, but the championship will get over it. I think. Look, Formula One lives without Kimi Räikkönen. Formula One. There's always characters over the years, and they come and go, and
Ricardo.
and the sport survives, and Formula E will do the same. But Luty, we'll leave it there. But thank you so much for coming on, and spending your time. And I hope you enjoy. You flying back tomorrow? I think I saw from your Instagram.
We're going with the train back tomorrow.
Going with the train back to train. So safe travels tomorrow, and
thank you.
And we will see you on a bar at some point.
Yes.
We actually.
Good evening.
I feel like we should have done a special show yesterday, because we were actually at the bar.
A live show, yeah.
I didn't quite think that through. Obviously, we couldn't have done it live because we would have needed the pub's permission. But because we had quite a lot of you there, we could have pretended to have our own live show. To be fair, I don't know why. To be fair, I just wanted to eat. Just wanted to eat.
Yeah. And we were all a bit drunk at that point, so I don't know how appropriate it would have been to say things in public. So
anyway, well, at least it wasn't been recorded. But that meant that meant no excuses. You could be on the show today, right? Thank you so much, and we'll see you later.
Yes. Have a good evening. Bye bye.
See you later.
Right, we're going to bring Edward Hunter in because he has been waiting, but we're going to give him 2 minutes, and then we'll wrap up the show. Mr. DHL, I like that.
Oh, well, I think I don't actually work for DHL, but Ben, who does, I've been sending all the photos that I've took to, so you can post them around for DHL's account. Ben did a very good job of looking after me. I think I called him my handler when I was talking to you guys, but I called him my contact and friend and confidant when I was talking to him.
He gets an Emotion Club ticket for 2 days, and he's calling someone his handler. Like, oh, this is my handler. Yes,
when
yes, I have a handler.
I realised what a lot of the people in the Formula E and the Hankook gear are actually doing. There is a lot of toing and throwing, and I thought, wow, you really get to know how Formula E works as a business, especially with the VIPs. So,
indeed, yeah.
I think we start with how was the experience?
Well, it's funny because you spend all these years moaning about VIPs that the cameras keep cutting to, and then suddenly you are one day. I said, except without the camera being on me, obviously, because I'm not particularly photogenic, as you might have noticed over the weekend. But
it was that shirt the second day.
Oh yeah, the Pico in Spotwise, that's my brother's old shirt, but he doesn't mind because he doesn't want it anymore, so I got it. But yeah, I even shaved especially for it. But anyway, so yeah, the VIP experience, it was fun. I think the highlight has got to be the electric laps thing, where they get bunch of Porsche and Cupra sort of event cars, and they put some pro drivers in there. Alice Powell, I was surprised getting in. Is Alice Powell's in this one? It's like, well, of course, because apart from doing the Envision quiz, what else would they have to do? It's great to see it. I mean, you really appreciate it. It was Sid as well. I can't remember Sid's last name, but he was also doing runs on the second day. So yeah, I've got some very funny footage as well of my dad getting into the car, turning to Alice Powell in a full Envision helmet and saying, "Oh, do you race then?" It's just like, Dad, you've seen her race. You've seen her driver coach people. What are you on about? And he's like completely failed to recognise her, mainly because he was quite sleep deprived. I think he'd just gotten back from Germany at like midnight before then. So anyway, that was the highlight. But
overall, a good experience then.
Positive. I think given that I didn't pay any money, I got a load of free food that was done by world-class catering.
Because you won it in a competition.
Yeah, it was a quiz, yeah.
It's quite nice to know that the competitions that are advertised do go to fans like yourself, and it was well deserved.
Oh, thanks.
I'm gonna enter the next DHL quiz to become the next Mr. DHL.
Okay, right. Well, they are doing one for like as a commentator challenge, I think, for F1 to get tickets to. I forget which F1 race it is, but
That's
yeah.
not for me. I'll be only looking for Formula E.
Well, they were suggesting that I do. Oh yeah, Formula E specific ones as well. I think they did one with the RC car that I posted about at the time, where you design your own RC car with a little livery editor sort of thing, where they give you like generic patterns and you can choose the colors. Anyway, I went for a black and pink one. I don't think it won, but because I don't think they must have given me this as a.
Didn't enter the electric laps colouring competition.
Oh well, was I supposed to colour it while I was in the car with Alice driving me around and throwing me around?
That was the assignment.
Okay, right. Well, it would have been nice if either of you or anyone had told me about that. But anyway, I was busy trying to sort out the QR code and get all the other stuff up. But yeah, anyway, brilliant. Being able to walk the grid on Saturday, I think because a couple of DHL just dropped out, so they said, "Do you want to walk on the grid?" It's like, well, absolutely. So that was a surreal experience. And yeah. But yeah, a lot of good memories, and it was great to see all of you, most importantly the fans as well, because it's amazing. We talked about like all the Degrassi, Buemi leaving, and like who's left from like the first Formula E zone. Of course, has been there. Jack, I know you've been there pretty much since the beginning. Carl's a more recent joinee, but let's not. I mean, he's going to be around for many years to come, so there's always time to gain experience. Is how I view it.
I can always rewatch him anyway.
Well, exactly.
Authentic, but
I think that's what Vernon Kay did when he was started presenting for Channel 5. He just watched all the backlog of Formula E races. That was less back then, of course.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I know we're running over, so I won't take up any more of your time.
So
but it's brilliant to be on.
Yeah,
and
more than welcome. Glad to
I was also really great to meet Josh Birch as well. I was able to get him in the
Yep.
Emotion Club. They did little hats where you could get the initials on. I got one especially for him, mainly because the second day I didn't want to get myself just another hat. I got him some old race programs from Brands Hatch that I had obtained for a friend of mine. I didn't actually go in the mid-'80s, but they were from the Grand Prix that they held there in '85 and '86. So I thought that'd be a really nice vintage little thing with, Senna Prost, load of inappropriate cigarette advertisements, but it was what flew back then. But yeah, it's a nice little bit of memorabilia, and I think it should go to someone that can appreciate it. And Josh absolutely felt it was brilliant to meet him. He's even lovelier in person, if you can believe it. But for those who watch the live shows as well, that him and Pico did from the hotel. I've walked all the way to that hotel to deliver that hat as well, and it was like quite a nostalgic journey, because it's like taking me back where I used to live when I went to uni, so the other side of that river. So yeah, a beautiful weekend. And that's all from me. Good night, folks, and thanks for having me on.
No worries. See you later, Ed. Thank you for coming on.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. Well, we did it. We broke the curfew. I'm really sorry.
The final show.
The final show of the season. There will hopefully be some more shows. So stay tuned. It might not be FE Bar specific, because I was told by Jeff Dodds when's the end of season quiz. So there'll be an end of season quiz, and I've got to make that at some point. But I will make that over the next couple of days, and then we will decide when the big end of season quiz will be. But that is everything from us on the FE Bar. Thank you to all of you again who's watching, for subscribing. We are, I think, Kyle, we are 20. Let's see, unless anything has changed over the show.
Yeah, seen your number. Yeah.
We are a bit less now. We are 16 subscribers away from the big 2,000. So if you're in here and you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. It means the world. But we should get there at some point over the next, and that'll be a good achievement. I think it was hard getting that first 1,000 for us, but second 1,000's come a little bit quicker than the first, well, by a mile. So we're getting there. We're getting there. But that's everything from us on the FE Bar. Thank you, Carl, for stepping in last minute.
That's right.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you to everyone who came on. Thank you to everyone who's watched throughout the season. There is lots and lots and lots of exciting things in the works on this side at Formula E Zone. I can't wait to share with you guys in the future. But until then, good night, and we'll see you soon. Ciao.
See you later.